resurrection be yours in rich abundance. Amen. I'm going to be Dave Zachrich to the very end, so you would expect nothing less, I hope. Here we go. For those of you sitting in the very back, there was a pastor that was preaching on and 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 on. And a visitor came in and slid in the back row next to one of the ladies that was sitting there. The pastor continued to go on and on and on. The visitor looked at his watch to make sure it was still running. And the pastor kept going on. And finally, he leaned over to the lady that looked like she was a member there and said, "How long has he been preaching?" The lady said, "About 40 years. The fellow said, "Okay, I guess I'll stay. He has to be done soon." He is. And I promised to name no one in this sermon, but I did the chance to get even, and so I will name one person with 2 daughters in our church, and this is Dave's revenge. And it all ties together with the long-winded preacher. And the person that I would like to get even with is Frida Freund. It's my last Sunday, fire me. Pastor Freund served long and well in downtown Zion and was a much-loved man. And for the most years here, Mrs. Freund was Mrs. Freund, never Frida. But as I visited her and I got to know her so well, she was a wonderful sister in Christ and is now in heaven organizing Sunday school and VBS and a choir and other things. Along the way, Frida fell and fractured her hip. And that was awful because she was a very busy lady that traveled and did so much, so well, so often. She went to the rehabilitation center and got with her walker so that she could walk again. Finally, the Sunday came that Frida could come back to church. It was roughly the end of the 10:30 service, 11:30, 11:45, and a nice day like this, and I was out on the edge, greeting a whole room full of people. Mrs. Freund, with her walker, walked right up to me, looked me in the eye, and said, "Pastor, I just thought you should know I took my pain pill today so I could come and listen to you." How do you answer that? So, I promise to not be long, lest you fidget, and I'll be done before your pain medicine wears off. Romans 16 is where I'd like to go, but we have to do 15 chapters first. St. Paul, in his letter to the Christians in Rome, and let's underline Christians, believers, folks like that, come to faith in Christ. But he said there are some doctrines you have to know. And starting in chapter 1, he minced no words. He said, if you continue as Christians to live in the way of the world, you are going to compromise your faith. There are influences on you that are not good, helpful, or positive, but I see them mirrored in your life sometime. Chapter 2. He said, you know what those influences are. Do you recognize the consequences of that? Chapter 3. The wages of sin is death. If you continue to do that, you are jeopardizing eternity. Chapters of, this is what we believe. This is why we believe. This is what it will do for us. This is the consequence if we will. This is the consequence if we won't. You absolutely need to know the doctrines of the faith. And Paul spells it out without equivocation. Clearly. But chapter 16 is different. I'm not going to read the entire chapter to you. I wish we could. Selected verses. I then commend to you our sister Phoebe. Receive her in the Lord in a way worthy of his people and give her any help she may need, for she has been a benefactor to many people, including me. Greet Priscilla and Aquila, my co-workers in Christ Jesus. They risked their lives for me. Greet my dear friend Epaenetus, who was the first convert to Christ in the province of Asia. Greet Mary, who worked very hard for you. Greet Andronicus and Junia, my fellow Jews who have been imprisoned with me. They are outstanding among the apostles. Greet Apollos, whose fidelity to Christ has stood the test. Greet Tryphena and Tryphosa, women who's worked hard in the Lord. Greet Rufus, chosen in the Lord, and his mother, who's been like a mother to me too. Greet one another with a holy kiss. I picked that on purpose to say doctrine is important. There are things we must know and believe, and we've worked on that. We really have. We've worked hard on that. But unless there are people, the doctrines mean nothing. It's people. And that's exactly what Paul said to them. And he named them, and probably twice as many names as I didn't read. Paul wanted to leave them with the words of thanks. Thank you. And those are the things I'm going to carry from the ministry. Not just Tallmadge Lutheran, 21 years. Gosh, you deserve some sort of an award for that. Trinity in Paw, Michigan, and there's some folks here from there. 10.5 years with you. The Redeemer, South Charleston, West Virginia, 3.5 years with you. Trinity, Rochester, Minnesota. A long time there, too. And the church's people. I've come to believe that with all my heart. And at times there have probably been some that said, gosh, he seems kind of soft on the doctrines, and he bends over for whatever the people want, and he doesn't say no, and sometimes he should. And you're right. But it's because I carry you in my heart, and you matter. But that's not a sermon, and the sermon starts when we go back to say, okay, Phoebe, Aquila, Priscilla, Apollos, Tryphonia, Tryphosa, Junius, if they're commended for faith, faithfulness, being in prison, sacrificing, standing fast, starting good and ending well, you know what the opposite of that is in the people that weren't named? They were the folks that were not faithful, did not last to the end, started well and stopped along the way, didn't sacrifice, enjoyed the labors of others, and were nowhere to be seen most of the time. But Paul was too polite to say that. As you go forward as Tallmadge Lutheran, the rest of you together, I'm so optimistic that the future here is bright. I want to see and hear good things. You've achieved and accomplished so much. The other day when Colette Jenkins from the Beacon Journal sat down with me, I've known her. She's the religion editor of the Beacon. She's a terrific lady. We talked through a lot of those things. She gets to go into a lot of churches, lots of times. She's come and favored our church more than any other church around, I think. She said, how did your church do the things that the people of Tallmadge do? And I said, faith and permission to try. Has everything that I said been accepted by you? Heavens, no. Let me count the ways. Has everything that we tried worked? Heavens, no. But we've never stopped trying. Because we have believed in the simplest sense that faith gives courage to go forward. The Lord will open the door, bring a blessing, and you've done that. You've allowed me to be part of that. That's the fabric of who you are as a church, and how absolutely good and wonderful that is. I told Pastor Riley this morning, I can remember June 15th, 1975, I was ordained. Wonderful black hair that was kind of long. You can see my picture in there. And you think about a beginning and starting a church and taking call and starting again and starting. Never in my wildest dreams did I think about ending. I don't know how excited for you, and I'd love to name every one of you. You've just been absolutely the greatest and the best. My co-workers have meant the world to me. You've been a family to me in absolutely every way. I can't thank you enough for doing all those things. I would have liked a slicing machine that they didn't buy, but that's far. So let's start to pull it to a close this way. On the way home from church, Mom and her daughter were sitting in the car driving away, and the little gal seemed troubled. And she said, "Mom, the pastor today said in church that God is bigger than we are, that God is so big he can hold the world in his hands. Is that true?" Mom said, "Yes, honey. That's how big our loving and gracious God is." Well, she said, "Pastor also said that God is so much larger than we are. Is that true?" "Oh, yes, he was telling the truth." "Okay, Mom, well then I have one question. If God is so big and so good, shouldn't people see him through us?" "Yes, honey, they should. In prayer, when we play together, when we laugh together, when we weep together, when we celebrate together. God in us, God with us, God through us, God for us." So out of respect for all of you that wish I would have had a sermon in the pulpit just once, take your pictures. The fellow that started the sermon and said he was going to keep going and going and going, went 90 minutes. 90 minutes. Wow, 90 minutes. I don't know that much, that's why. And he finally paused because he was out of breath, and he asked a rhetorical question that's on the screen. "Brothers and sisters, what more can I say?" And a wise guy from the church that spoke for the whole congregation yelled, "Amen."